a person is inclined towards wide body and if he wants to become a pilot of a wide body, then what is the shortest path to reach the wide body cockpit?
Now, considering the number of wide body airplanes in today's date in
Mhm.
India,
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to India's #1 pilot podcast. And Captain Neha is back sooner than, to be honest, expected. So she was just sitting, recovering, and she was like, might as well shoot a podcast. Okay. So she is recovering through her surgery now, and hopefully within a week or so, she should be fine. Later, followed by that. So she'll talk relatively lesser today because she has just undergone a surgery, so the energy levels are relatively lesser, but she's trying her best. Okay. And to
Yes.
our new audience, if you don't know who we are, because it's been episodes that we haven't introduced ourselves, right? Like, so
Yes.
yeah, that's Captain Neha. She is a captain on Airbus A320, works for one of the leading airlines in India. She is the founder of CNTAA, the Pilot Ground School, founded CNTAA in 2008. I'm myself Nilay. I'm a commercial pilot. I did my flight training in the US, Florida with L3 Harris. And yeah, I'll be soon joining one of the airlines in India. Yeah.
Yes, I am the winged engineer. If you might have seen my videos on YouTube. So I'm also a commercial pilot. I'll be joining an airline soon, and I like to create content for aspiring pilots and guide them for their pilot training.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
I'm sorry I introduced you because I
Yeah,
didn't know whether
no
you
problem.
have the energy to do so, or
No.
because so she
Today,
was
relatively, I'm able to speak okay, but till yesterday, the moment I used to speak a bit, I used to get headache, and then my paranasal sinuses used to have some, uneasiness and some pain, and then it was very, very, not exactly painful because you are under anesthesia, but it is not a pleasant experience at all to undergo any kind of surgery. So basically, I was absolutely clueless about what is happening inside my sinuses and nose until I actually could not breathe because of the sinuses being blocked because of something called as polyposis. So, as we have discussed a bit in
Yeah.
the previous episode, but it is the development because of the fungal growth, and that just blocks your nasal passage.
well, we
to
don't know whether
this,
it was fungal or not,
was
right?
fungal.
So we'll get the reports, the culture studies, and all of that now.
It is
And
fungus. What fungus it is, that
Okay.
they will know.
got it.
Yeah.
So how does the
So-
recovery look like now? So when there
So-
is a TMU, how do you get back to flying, and how long does it take to get back to
So
flying?
for this particular thing, for every particular surgery or any kind of a medical issue, their recovery time is different. It varies.
Okay.
It depends on that particular surgery, and
Mhm.
for that you need to consult the aviation doctor, and he or she would know about
Mhm.
how much is that recovery period. So for this it is 6 weeks, and so basically there are lot of sprays which are which are steroid sprays,
Mhm.
Yes,
and
yes.
then antibiotics and some medications have to consume. So that medications would go on, and then to prevent some things like this from recurring, these sprays have to be used for a longer
Correct.
duration, like for about 6 months. So the recovery seems little longer, but
Okay.
I have started to feel better, like from today being
Yes.
sixth day after surgery. Last
Right.
Tuesday I underwent surgery, so
Okay.
today being Monday, so it's just like 6 days.
So now first your ENT surgeon will give you a go ahead to go ahead and consult a DGCA medical examiner.
Yeah.
Then
So
that
after
person-
10 days, there is a follow-up. So the entire sinuses are, you can imagine that there is you won't be seeing anything on the face because it is endoscopic surgery.
Yeah, but we can
so,
hear your voice has changed.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like,
and
So-
to a degree, it'll take probably some time to recover from
Right.
that.
So that endoscope is inserted through nose, and that is flexible, and that goes through nose, and then it actually,
It's
removes.
alright. I mean,
It
I don't
kind
know
of-
if everyone has the tolerance to.
No, but we are not showing anything of blood.
Yeah,
But whatever,
like-
it is the process. Okay, so
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, I mean,
So-
some people feel like nauseatic if we
okay.
speak about surgery or
okay.
anything happening
So
to
basically,
bodies.
yeah, there is a lot of things happen in the sinuses. That part which is polyps is removed.
Understood.
And then now, because it takes time, so basically that injury needs to be healed. So that is a process which takes a bit longer. So with those sprays, it tries to remove whatever is the residual mucus in that sinus.
So to
it
estimate
tries
how soon you think you can get back to the cockpit, I mean,
So-
obviously that's doctor's decision.
about
than-
1.5 month from now, which is about 6 weeks, it is
Okay.
said, from the day of surgery.
Okay.
And then I have to undergo a special medical at AFCME New Delhi. Once that is cleared, thereafter I will be fit to fly and then get back to
Got
skies.
it.
So that's how it is. So it is very, very important. Like after I had to undergo this, even slightest of issue or a problem that anybody faces should definitely address it and get it rectified at an early stage rather than letting it prolonged and
Correct.
then do not
procrastinate.
prolong
Yeah.
do not neglect any kind of medical issue that you're facing. So
Yeah.
that
Do not
is-
procrastinate the diagnosis or
Yeah,
treatment
yeah.
of it.
So
Makes sense.
anytime you feel anything is going unusual, it should be addressed immediately. So
Yes, and it's good to see her back on the podcast. The
Yeah.
moment she felt like she is good, she is back on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we will do the most of the talking in this
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah.
and we'll let you like listen to what we say and put your
Absolutely.
suggestions. And
Yeah,
coming back
sure.
to medicals, as it's rightly said that a healthy person has 1,000 wishes, but a sick person has
Yeah.
one.
Sure.
So in
Yes.
pilot lives, or her medical is the most
Absolutely.
important thing.
Absolutely.
That's a really good quote. Like, I mean,
yes.
we oftentimes like neglect.
our health, and once we are sick, there's only one thing in the world that we need is to be fit again
True.
and
Correct.
to do whatever we were doing the other
Correct,
day.
correct,
So
correct.
true.
Yes, so it's very important to maintain your medical as a pilot.
Yes, very true. So whenever there is any kind of health issue, it should be addressed immediately. And it is very important that you take care of your health as much as possible. Do a workout or exercise at least 3 to 4 times a week. That is very, very important. And then there are other things related to it.
Cool. So maintain health for sure, I guess. I'm not too big on exercising and all, but I'm good with diet, so I don't know. I guess what they both are talking is little bit gibberish to me.
Oh.
But
No, it
but
is.
it shouldn't be for you. I'm certain that
There are certain things to maintain your health, which is diet and exercise,
Sure.
and your mental diet, what you're consuming.
yeah, for
uh,
sure.
Yeah, that's it for a pilot. And if a pilot takes care of his health, then he can work until the age of 65 and then retire with lots of money in the bank.
Lots of money.
Depends. Everyone
Yeah.
has eventually forever the goals down the line. So to fly till the age of 65, you have to be really, really fit.
Okay.
Mm.
And it is very challenging to maintain medical at later stages because the number of tests increase and the frequency of tests increase. So
So back in 2010, like when you went for your medicals. So for your class 1 renewals, you would have to visit the Air Force Medical Base. And later past, I would say 5 to 10 years, it got changed to an interval of 5 years. So every 5 years, you have to visit the Air Force Medical Base. And now with the latest rules, it is changed to 45 years. So until the age of 45, you can visit a class 1 medical examiner for your renewal. But the initial has to be done from AFC, like the Air Force Medical Base, and two civil centers, which is Apollo Hospital and one is Nanavati in Mumbai, where I did from. And surprisingly, like till date, I did not get a chance to visit the Air Force Medical Base.
Okay.
So every time I like went for the medical, the rules would have changed a month or 2 months prior to
No,
that.
but you don't have to visit Air Force Center, because you can always do it at Apollo or
the
there's
renewal as well, right?
Yeah, the renewal
Okay.
as well. It is so you can choose to not go to Air Force station ever
No.
if you are doing it.
No.
I think the
Nanavati.
renewal-
It is not necessary. It's not like that.
So
Okay. So if you let me put it.
So
Okay.
back in time, you
So-
used to go to Air Force Station for your medicals, and now it's not like that. Why so?
So back in time when I did my initial class 1 medical, there were so many applicants and there were very few medical centers. And that time, as per the law of DGCA, only Air Force medical stations like Delhi AFCME, Bangalore IM, and the Jorhat MEC, that is Medical Examination Center. Only these 3 centers were open back in 2006 when I did my initial class 1 medical.
Okay.
So when I applied for medical date for class 1, imagine when I would have got an appointment 6 months later. So there was so much of applications that those many centers were not able to serve those applications,
Got it.
because of which they had to come up with more number of centers. So Air Force stations are very limited, and the number of doctors over there are also limited, which are primarily there for serving the forces, the
Indian Armed Forces.
Indian Armed Forces, or for
Indian
military or Air Force or Navy, for their medical issues. So for this civil aviation, DGCA came up with more number of civil doctors who would be eligible to do class 1 medical at their clinic.
But you mentioned
So-
about Jorhat, you mentioned about Bangalore and Delhi, correct? Okay. But I remember you going to Pune Air Force Station
Yes,
also.
yes.
So
Because
what
I
was
was flying in Baramati, and the closest station for me was Pune.
Okay.
So that time there was no civil doctor who would, conduct class 1 medical in
Okay.
Pune. And that was the reason why I have done my class 1 renewal in Pune Air Force Station.
Okay.
And that was the way it used to be. Now, because of the number of pilots have almost become 3 to 4 times,
Yeah.
because my CPL license number was in 6,000s. And
Now is
that is,
Now it's, I guess,
21,000.
21,300 something.
and then
That is going on right now.
yeah, that is issue. And then the one who are already becoming pilots, aspiring pilots, are another 2,000-3,000. So
correct.
the number of applicants have become 4 times since
Yeah.
then. Because of that, there was a requirement of more civil doctors.
Yeah.
So eventually they allowed even civil class 1 medical doctors to perform a class 1 medical at their clinic.
Okay.
But then there were certain requirements that the file PMR will not go to them, etc.
Okay.
Now, eventually, this requirement changed. So that time it was like every 5th medical, like 25 years, 30 year of your medical, 35 years, 40 years, 45 years. So every 5th year of medical has to has to happen at Air Force Station.
Got it.
And that Air Force Station could be either Bangalore, Delhi, or
Jorhat.
Jorhat, or there are more couple
Nanavati.
of them. Nanavati and Apollo is only for initial medical, not for renewal.
Oh.
Okay, they are
Okay.
only there for
Yes.
initial class 1 medical and
Okay.
not for renewal.
Yes.
So,
And how
these-
about reinitial if someone's
No, that reinitial, if someone's is lapsed,
yeah.
reinitial can be done
Okay.
at Nanavati or
Okay.
Apollo. But if there is a special medical, like what I have to undergo now,
Uh-huh.
like if there are any related issues with the bone, if somebody
Okay.
has a fracture
Mhm.
or has fallen from whatever, like
Mhm.
because of anything, bone related things,
Yeah.
if there is special medical after that, it is carried out at Bangalore.
Bangalore.
And if there is any medical related to respiratory or heart related issues, then the special medical is carried out at Delhi AFCME.
Okay.
So the special medical, depending on what has happened, because of which it has to be carried out,
Correct.
it is there is a specific center.
Got it.
And now after COVID, because of the lockdown,
Mhm.
medicals were piled up,
Yeah.
and then everybody was again overwhelmed that no one
Correct.
was getting appointment.
Correct.
Their renewals were pending. So again, Air Force stations gave up and they let civil doctors, class 1 medicals, they let civil class 1 medical doctors to undergo, to conduct the class 1 medical of every 5 years. And in those medicals, you have to undergo more number of tests.
Yes. That's
Okay.
That is how the things have changed. And now
Okay.
after 45 years of medical, then every fifth medical of fifth year has to be done at
Correct.
Air Force station. And then there are certain requirements if somebody has any kind of medical issues, then after certain date
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
months.
Yes, and with the
So-
increase in the number of aspiring pilots, that the CPL number is around like 21,000, and there is an increase in the number of opportunities as well that an aspiring pilot will have
Yeah.
comparing like 10 years back.
Right.
So right now, if you see Air India, so it has placed a massive orders of 470 aircraft, and if you see
Yes.
India's newest airline, which is the Akasa airline,
Yeah.
so in 6 months period, it has inducted 18 aircrafts. So you can imagine the rate of growth of the airline and the number of pilots it would recruit in the coming 5 years
Correct.
at this pace.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes, so back in time when people used to ask what type rating they should go for, I was kind of biased towards Airbus
You
320.
still are.
But now if they are really willing to go for 737, then yes, they do have good opportunity for
Right.
Boeing aircraft to, over time, as you build certain hours on this narrow body 737, you can go to
Correct.
Boeing 777 also, because as per the latest application of Air India, they are hiring Boeing 777 first officers, for which the eligibility criteria is they should be type rated on 737 and
Or they can be-
preferably they with experience of
No, there is a
500.
new vacancy as well, right?
yeah, for just fresh type rated.
CPL holders vacancy I'm talking about.
CPL
Now
holders
I was
with
talking
737
Yeah.
Type
Type
rated.
rated
The-
ones, yeah.
the one who can go to wide body.
Yeah.
Now the another vacancy for Air India is for CPL holders,
Correct.
which is for narrow body.
Yeah.
So directly to go to wide body, if you have certain hours, it is
Possible.
they would upgrade to wide body. But fresh narrow body or
Yeah.
Boeing 737 type rated pilots would be generally inducted on first
Narrow
officer on
body.
the narrow body,
Yeah,
that is
correct.
737 itself.
So if a person is inclined towards wide body and if he wants to become a pilot of a wide body, then what is the shortest path to reach the wide body cockpit?
Now, considering the number of wide body airplanes in today's date in India are very limited, but
That's true.
considering next 5 years and 10 years, as you can see, the number of airplanes order which is there is definitely great, like 40 wide body airplanes, Airbus 350 and another or similar number of aircrafts of 777 and 787. So considering this number, of course, the one who have already flown narrow body airplanes and who are willing to go to wide body, as per seniority in a company, they would be getting a chance to go to wide body, because otherwise it would be unfair to the ones who have been working for a really long time.
That's true.
And then if they don't get a chance. So it is always, there is always a seniority list which is maintained in an airline. And whenever there is anything like any attractive thing coming in an airline, the ones who are quite senior would get an opportunity first, and thereafter the juniors. So of course everybody would want to fly wide body as early as possible.
Correct.
Yes,
Considering the young generation in 20s, you think that I want to see Europe and then US and So in that case, as we have discussed earlier, but yes, we will put more light on that in this episode as well. If you have certain number of hours on narrow body airplane like Boeing 737 or Airbus 320, and if you have ATPL with 2000 plus hours, then you have an opportunity to apply in for a wide body airplane as a first officer.
Correct.
And then so either you can apply in Middle East or you can apply in Southeast Asia. And since India itself has now wide body market, there will be more opportunities coming in next few years. So that will keep happening. The internal company vacancies will keep coming. And whoever want to upgrade themselves from narrow body to wide body as first officer. And thereafter, once that time passes, then there will be another upgrade which would be captain on narrow body. So again you have to come to a captain on narrow body, and then you become a captain on wide body.
That is how it used to be in Jet, right?
Yeah,
Jet
that
Airways.
is how it used to be in Jet and
Airways.
even in Air India it is that way. So any airline which has multiple fleets, right from wide body, right from narrow body to wide body, this upgradation is always there, and that's how the upgrade goes. So if you want to stick to that airline and continue to upgrade yourself, then this is how it goes. So like first officer on narrow body, then first officer on wide body, then captain on narrow body, then captain on wide body.
And then if you start on a prop,
ATR, there is a possibility that somebody could get upgrade from wide body first officer to captain on a turboprop or ATR. So right from flying New York and Paris, you start flying to Rajamundry and Rajkot, these places.
Do you have a problem from flying to Rajamundry?
No. So I mean, it's a fact. That would be the change of lifestyle.
Because the turboprops fly to tier 2 cities, relatively smaller cities, right? Yes, absolutely. So I know a friend of mine who did this. So he was on first officer on ATR. He was in Jet, and then he got upgraded to A330. Okay, so he was doing all the Europe sectors and enjoying life and eating European food and vacations in Europe. And unfortunately, Jet Airways is shut now, right? So he switched to Go Air and is now.
Yes, and speaking about wide body, we have friends who are working on wide body, and we have requested them quite couple of times to join us on our podcast, but the schedule is so tight. If they are available, then the Captain Neha is not available. So we are trying our best to get them on the podcast so that you all will also know how does a pilot how is the life of a pilot in a
Yeah,
wide-body aircraft.
we'll ask Karan and Ruchi to
Yes,
join
yes.
someday.
But
So-
to be honest, it's a completely different ball game
Yes.
of flying a turboprop, then flying narrow body, and then flying a wide body.
Wide-body.
Yeah.
With your lifestyle and your schedule,
completely
it's
different.
absolutely different ball game.
Yeah.
In turboprops, generally there are no layovers. You start in the morning, you come back by evening. It's like morning
It's
to
like
evening
morning to
shift.
evening job.
Okay,
Correct.
and you fly to those places which are like generally, open. Those airports are open in the morning, daytime, and then they close at night. Or those things. And
Correct.
even
Like tier
basically
2 or
the tier
tier
2 or
3.
3 cities, and they connect it to tier 1 cities.
Mhm.
So that's how it is generally.
Okay.
No one knows when this will change in coming
Yeah.
years, but
Mhm.
they are very, very less layovers because the sectors are short.
Sure.
Narrow body, it's kind of a combination of both. It is
Okay.
some part like how when I flew to Istanbul, I got a feeling of
Okay.
little bit. I feel
Yeah.
like a wide
Moving
body
to wide
pilot,
Correct.
and then when
Just
I
a taste
fly
of
from,
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then when I fly from Bombay to Goa, it's like a 50-minute flight. Or Mumbai to
Yeah.
Rajkot, it's like 35-minute flight. So then I feel, you're like a
It's like
you know,
just take off
air
and you
bus
land.
driver. Okay, so it's like you keep doing that
Correct.
shuttle and like that. So
Correct.
basically, it's a combination of both in a narrow body and wide body. It's completely
Well,
different
that's
ballgame.
that's correct. But the ones who want to become pilot is the dream for them, right? Like once you achieve your dreams and goals, it so happens that it becomes the new normal for you. But
Correct.
at one point of time, that is everything that the person
Yeah,
has
there
dreamt
is
about,
nothing
right?
wrong in flying any type of
Yeah,
airplane that is.
Correct.
Right from seaplanes or right from being a flight instructor
Mhm.
to
Absolutely.
flying in an airline, because the moment when things go wrong and then when aviation market is not open, then CPL holders start to keep in touch with flying and to keep their
Yeah.
hours current. They become an instructor,
Yeah.
and yes, that is also one of the way to keep their hours building and then to keep
Absolutely.
their knowledge current. So
Yes, as long as they have the love for aviation, they are passionate about flying, they'll figure out a way to stick to the aviation.
there are
And no matter what aircraft they fly, they'll enjoy each and every moment of flying their aircraft. Being it
Absolutely.
Cessna or being it A350.
absolutely yes.
They love flying both the aircrafts.
Absolutely, yeah. इसका
Cool.
बोलना है.
And then again, when we speak about long haul, right? The sleep cycle is done. Like
Goes
there
for a
is
toss.
there is not only goes for a toss. There is no regard to the circadian rhythm.
Yes.
Nothing. I mean, one day you are experiencing sunrise at whatever GMT plus something, the other day is GMT minus something, and while you are flying, actually you end up seeing sunrise and sunset probably a couple of times. Right?
Yes.
Like if you have been on a long haul flight as a passenger, you would notice that the sun rises and sets and whatever is going on outside, you're like, okay, some time ago that there was a sunset, now there is a sunrise. Okay, I left in the night and it's still just morning here. What's going on, right? Because that's the whole time calculation. The GMT is there, and if you're leaving at so let's do that. Let's go over time calculation.
Yes.
So if we are taking off at 1 o'clock in the morning, okay, from Mumbai, which is GMT plus 5:30, right? And we are going to New York, okay, and the flight time is 18 hours.
Yeah. So
18
now
hours? Is it 18 or 16?
It's around 15 hours.
Yeah,
it
15
to
depends
16
on
depends on the
winter,
winds,
summer,
jet streams.
or whatever.
Say 16 hours. Yeah. Now.
So in that case, now you are going ahead and sun is
Correct.
behind you.
Correct.
And you would see darkness all the time. And by when you land, you after a while, then it will be sunrise.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you're coming back,
Right.
if you take off in the morning,
Right.
early morning,
Right.
okay, now you would be seeing daytime,
Mhm.
and when you land back again, you see sunrise.
And that's what pilots
Yeah.
do. The wide body pilots do almost 4 to 5 times, not 4 to 8 to 10 times in a month, because
Yes.
you go and come
Come
back,
back, that
the-
is
and
2
you
times.
do 4 sectors like that.
That's
Yeah,
total
like
of 8
4
sectors.
times they fly
Yeah,
in
4
a month.
times they fly,
In a
return flight
month.
in a month. So, and body's natural instinct is, as body sees the sun setting, the temperature of the body relatively drops. That is when the melatonin levels are go up, and basically the circadian rhythm sets itself, and then
then you
we
feel sleepy.
feel sleepy. Right, then there is a enough account to another hormone, that is adenosine as well. Okay, regardless, but there is no day, no night for
Absolutely.
long haul pilots. It's
Yeah, but don't you think like after a couple of years working with that schedule, the body get used to it?
no, body can never get used to
Never.
it, because human body is not actually designed to change time zones.
Okay.
I mean, over a period of say 100 years, 150 years from now, if there is an adaptation in human body, okay, in human evolution, if we speak of it,
Yes, yes.
then that is possible. But current generations, as we see, do not have that adaptation, and we are not adapted to changing time zones so drastically.
Yes.
The only thing you can do is manage your sleep in a better
Better
fashion
way, yeah.
rather than when you are ab initio.
Yes.
That is the only thing you can do
Yeah.
in a better way. But even today, after flying for 7 years continuously, I still feel whenever there is early morning, yes, I have to sleep. I have to sleep early.
Sure.
And then
Yes, yes,
you wake
that's
up
true.
and then, but when you wake up, then you're good. Like
Yeah,
you're
and
all
then
charged
In the
up.
morning you are charged up. But I have seen
Yeah.
pilots use the blackout curtains during the day if they want to sleep.
Yes,
So
yes.
if there is a minimum amount of light
Sure.
entering the room,
Yeah.
the brain gets tricked into knowing that it's night and they can get a good sleep.
Yeah.
And then
That can
when you
help.
open the curtain, it's already night, and then you start your flying.
Yeah, that can help. Sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Another thing that the humidity levels in these long haul flights, like the moisture content in the cabin is very low, is
Yes,
extremely
definitely.
dry.
Absolutely.
Right? So, like, exposure to low moisture content again and again, even for domestic flights for that
Yes.
matter, every single day.
For pressurized
That can-
cabin, it's a dry cabin, right?
Every airplane is very dry inside, like
Yes,
even
yes.
if it is
Relative
not
humidity is very low,
Yeah.
which is about 1 to 2%.
Correct.
And in wide body airplanes, like now the modern ones, 350 or 787, they have humidifiers,
Okay.
which makes that cabin a bit more humid compared to the relative humidity of 1 to 2%, about
okay.
maybe 5 to 7%. And their cabin altitude, the maximum cabin altitude is relatively lower, which reduces the change in pressure
Correct.
to a degree. So the cabin altitude, the maximum cabin altitude in this Airbus 350 and Boeing 787, Boeing 777 is relatively lower compared to 320 and 737.
Correct.
320, 737, it's about 8,000. Higher is the cabin altitude, the more amount of changes in pressure the body undergoes
Correct.
because of that. Whereas if the cabin altitude is lower, then it is much comfortable to the passengers.
Absolutely.
As well as if the humidity is a bit on the higher side, then it is comfortable. Otherwise, you always feel thirsty, skin gets dry, you
Yes.
apply moisturizer or lips get dry, and then
Correct.
it gets uncomfortable.
Correct.
So
usually that cabin altitude is maintained to be at 8,000 feet, right?
So
In-
every airplane has a different specification.
Okay.
The maximum in the narrow body airplanes is just generally close to 8,000 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these planes are not humidified, the narrow body ones.
They do not have humidifiers, and humidifiers are required for a longer duration flights, like long haul flights.
Correct.
Yeah.
Have you by any chance experienced anyone pointing lasers while you are flying or coming for landing?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
Oh.
In Kolkata, when I was on the approach to land, there was Durga Puja going on,
Okay.
and that time that's a big festival in
Correct.
West Bengal.
Yes.
So
Was it the laser deliberately being pointed at in the cockpit?
there were many lasers. Like
Okay.
which
Okay.
were
Okay.
The
there,
The laser
which
show.
were distracting the pilot's
Got it.
vision when on short finals to land.
Understood.
Okay.
So-
But that was not a deliberate act of like
Deliberate
pointing.
act happens in Mumbai on
Yeah.
short final.
Correct.
Oh.
In those shanties, they point at airplane nose, and then that is. Crazy.
I don't
That
know
happens
what
many times.
joy people get by
Yeah.
doing
But what
it.
will
It's-
happen if you point laser at? Is there any?
So your vision gets distracted
Okay.
because it's a very bright
No,
light
I
at
was
night.
like at the nose, right? So it's not getting inside the cockpit.
Nose, that is the
It's on the
cockpit.
windshield,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Whom were we discussing this lately about? Okay.
I
So-
mean, when we were flying in Dhule,
Yeah.
doing a recency.
Yeah.
At that time, there was one event going on. So
Yeah.
nowadays they have this rotating huge beams of light which rotates
Yeah,
like this,
yeah.
like this.
That is what
Then-
she is talking about, I guess.
And then it randomly strikes the windshield, and you are all blind for a second or two.
Yeah.
And then you see down, oh, there's a festival. But I don't
Correct.
know if it's legal because we fly at like
That,
1,000 feet doing the traffic patterns
Okay.
during our training.
Mhm.
But I don't know how is it for A320.
I mean, deliberately pointing
Is a
laser
crime.
is a crime in the cockpit, because what actually happens is cockpit is pretty dark. Like it is
Yes,
a dark
during night it's
environment.
dark, and you
yeah.
need that
And
darkness
Airbus
to
has
Cockpit
the-
concept,
yeah.
dark cockpit philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Airbus has the dark cockpit philosophy. So dark cockpit philosophy means
Means no white lights. So basically, when things are working normal, then there should not be any lights on the overhead panel.
okay.
If in case there is any abnormality, then that light illuminates or any different function, like for example, anti-ice or any amber light is there. So you can detect what is different than
Correct.
normal.
Okay.
So to identify that easily,
Okay.
rest of the lights are dark.
Understood.
So,
So what
whether
happens?
it is on and off, it could be anything, but it is normal.
Right.
That is
Correct.
dark.
So what happens because of that is, if you are exposed to dark environment, like dark surroundings, not environment, dark surroundings for too long, then the pupils dilate, okay, so that more light can enter into the eye, okay, and can cast an image on the retina. Now when these pupils are dilated, at that time, if a bright light such as a laser, which is extremely concentrated beam of light, enters the eye, it can straight up damage the retina, okay, it can burn the retina possibly. And not only that, imagine an airplane that is at 200 feet, 500 feet, okay, which is about to commence landing, okay, and the pilot is in 100% concentration for the airplane to land, okay, and at that time someone chooses to blind the pilot. It's risking hundreds of lives straight up, right?
Because of that, many pilots had to go around
Okay.
due to that laser show which was going on
Correct.
in
I
Kolkata.
believe it was in the news as well.
Yes, it was.
If anyone is getting fun by pointing lasers at the aircraft, don't do it. It's really terrible.
risky,
Yeah.
and the consequences of that.
Can be really um, devastating. Right.
Hazardous.
I mean, most of it is done by children who are like 5 to 10 years of age who don't know.
Yeah,
but
sure.
The parents should
Definitely.
like, notice such events.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
hazardous as in it can be devastating also. It so much happens that either of the pilot is looking in that direction most of the times, right? Because nobody expects that light is gonna hit your eye, right? But then either of the pilot, then other pilot still has his vision for that time, and then basically they move forward and land the airplane. But if it so happens that both the pilots are looking at the laser, at the source of the light, then it can really be devastating.
Correct.
Right?
So why do passengers are asked to keep their mobile phone on airplane mode?
That is because the aircraft communication frequencies
Mhm.
and the frequency which is used by cellular networks would coincide. It is in the same frequency band like UHF.
Okay.
So in UHF there is secondary surveillance radar. There is DME. So those radio communication frequencies are there which coincide with the same band.
So
of
it so happened
communication.
that
that is the
after-
reason why when we are communicating on final approach to land, we get some
Static.
disturbance in our communication
Yes,
because some passengers have their mobile phones not in airplane mode and the network is
Yes,
on.
I have seen as a passenger whenever I am flying, I have seen people like as soon as we are about to land or we are at 1500 feet, we get the mobile network, right? So they are already on their phones while the plane is about to land on the finals.
Correct. But the communication frequency is in VHF, right?
Yeah,
So-
I'm talking about the some SSR frequency, the secondary surveillance radar
Correct.
frequency, or
So you
DME
mean not
frequency.
vocal communication, but the communication that airplanes radio aids has, right?
Yeah,
Like secondary surveillance radar, and
DME,
also the
even glide path.
correct.
Right.
And so that's why there were many go-arounds that happened when the 5G bandwidth.
5G bandwidth is even more hazardous to the to airplanes because of the frequency was coinciding. There were
Mhm.
many go-arounds in US.
Okay.
The 5G has not come to India yet, and
It has.
But
it has come,
has-
but it's on the testing phase. It's
Right.
not
I don't know. I haven't been
officially
using 5G yet, but
Yes. I mean, the speed is good.
yeah,
There's
pretty
no need
good.
to upgrade. But I think it's in the testing phase, and seeing the interference that 5G caused in the US aviation, so the DGCA has taken appropriate steps
Okay.
to like monitor the use of 5G around airports so that it don't
Correct.
interfere with the systems.
Correct. Understood. Okay. Yeah, I think that'll be all. So 5G, try to keep the phones on flight mode if possible. Okay.
And don't point laser on an aircraft.
On an airplane. And be good humans, right? So, and if you are an aspiring pilot, be an amazing human. That's what it takes, right, to be a pilot. Pilots in today's date and age aren't actually mavericks, but are just good operators of the airplane, good decision makers, and overall they have good intentions, meaning they are good humans, amazing humans. That's what it is. That'll be all for today's topic. Okay, if you are an aspiring pilot, you know the drill. Sign up for CNTAA online and subscribe, share. What else? Bye.
Yes. and
see you in the next one.
Yeah, see you in the next one. And yeah, if you want to watch a shorter version of this podcast, you can check out our new channels, Pilot Podcast Clips, where we share the short form of this podcast in a, I would say, a more graphical way and
Yeah.
entertaining
Concise
way
manner.
and a concise manner.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.
Yep.
Thank you
and
so
wish her speedy recovery. That's all.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Like the other fun